Hey guys, it's Natasha and welcome back to Animal Amazement. On this episode, we're looking at corvids. Corvidae is a family of birds that includes crows, ravens, jays, magpies, rooks, jackdaws, and a couple others, and they are incredibly smart. Crows and ravens can even mimic human words and other sounds, and they can count up to about 3 or 4. Corvids live all over the world except for the tip of South America and the polar ice caps, but they love snow. Crows and ravens have been seen in different places around the world, sliding and sledding and snowboarding down roofs of houses and cars over and over again. And while scientists can't technically confirm that this is play, there doesn't really seem to be any other purpose for this besides enjoyment and entertainment. And play is a sign of high intelligence. So are self-awareness and tool use. And magpies have famously passed the mirror test, so they do recognize themselves. And different corvids can make and use tools. One crow named Betty surprised her researchers when she took a piece of wire and used a nearby object to bend a hook at the end and then use the hook to get to a piece of food in a tube. They thought that she had just come up with this entire ingenious plan on her own, but it was later discovered that New Caledonian crows in the wild do this exact same thing with soft twigs. Some crows also use breadcrumbs to catch fish. Studies have shown that corvids are really good at planning ahead. In one experiment, Eurasian jays were fed peanuts until they were full, and then presented with an assortment of foods that they could put in trays to hide for later. They knew that certain trays could only be accessed at certain times, and they sorted the food into specific trays based on their anticipated needs, like they were planning out their meals for the future. Corvids are also highly social. They understand fairness and they work to build up good reputations. Jackdaws have a strong social hierarchy, and crows mate for life, form close-knit communities, and even have older siblings stick around to help raise their younger siblings. They also adopt orphaned crows. Male Eurasian jays have also demonstrated theory of mind, which is the ability to anticipate someone else's feelings and desires, which was previously only thought to be a skill that humans had. These birds offer gifts to their mates as a form of bonding, and in one study, a couple of male Eurasian jays were offered the option to present their mates with either mealworm larvae or moth larvae. And so the birds watched while their mates ate, and depending on which one she ate most of during her meal, he would present her with the other one, because he knew that if she had just eaten a bunch of moth larvae, she'd want to eat some mealworm larvae right after. Some people think that corvids hold funerals for their dead, and magpies have been observed practicing elaborate grieving rituals that include laying grass wreaths on the body, and they can experience complex emotions like grief. But most scientists think that what looks like a crow funeral, which is like gathering everyone around and paying special attention to the dead body, might actually be a way of gathering the flock over to investigate the death and to determine if there are still any threats nearby. This behavior was exploited in a well-known experiment that showed that crows can recognize human faces and remember them for a long time. They'll even sometimes teach their young to hate certain people. Researchers put masks on and walked around holding dead taxidermized crows around a flock of crows, and as soon as the crows saw this, they all came over and scolded the researchers and then called other crows over to harass them. The researchers came back periodically for the next 6 weeks and received the same treatment from the birds every time that they did. People have also claimed that crows have recognized them not just by their faces, but by their cars and the way that they walk, even years later or miles away from where they first met. Being able to recognize and remember individuals from different species helps these birds remember who can be trusted and who can't. Ravens will also call over coyotes and wolves that they formed alliances with to help them out when they can't get a carcass open. Crows are also known for being very clever. Some crows like to drop hard-to-open nuts onto crosswalks and then wait for a car to dive over them, and then they'll swoop down and retrieve their opened nuts. So not only are they using cars as nutcrackers, but they also learn to wait for the red light to safely retrieve their food, and they're dropping them onto crosswalks where cars actually stop instead of just in the middle of the road. Some corvids also like to steal food from other birds, and the ones who have been thieves in the past know how to hide their food and how to move their hoard around to keep other birds from stealing them. This shows that they can use their past experiences to anticipate the actions of other thieves and outwit them. And only the birds who have been thieves before know how to do this. California's scrub jays not only remember where they hid their food, but how long ago different food was hidden. This type of episodic memory was also previously thought to only exist in humans. Blue jays imitate hot calls to warn their flock of impending danger, but sometimes they'll also do it to scare birds away from the bird feeders that they want to use. In captivity, blue jays have also been known to rip up newspaper and use the strips to get to hard-to-reach food, and to pick locks to escape. There's an Aesop fable about a crow who's able to figure out how to get water from a pitcher by dropping rocks in the pitcher to raise the water level. Scientists tested this out by presenting 4 rooks with clear tubes of water with a little worm floating around the bottom next to a pile of rocks. All 4 birds were able to figure out how to get to the worm. So why are corvids so smart? Their brain-to-body ratio is the same as that of non-human great apes like chimps and orangutans, and as cetaceans like dolphins and whales. It's only slightly lower than that of humans. And some corvids have a forebrain that's relatively the same size as that of humans and chimps. Although they don't have a neocortex like we and some other primates do, they do have a densely packed cluster of neurons that has evolved to give them the problem-solving skills and adaptability that we have. Corvids also have long childhoods, which means more time to develop and to learn skills from their parents. It also means they have a long adolescence to play around and to mess with other animals, which they really like to do. Young corvids also like to play elaborate games like Follow the Leader and King of the Mountain, and they like to balance sticks for fun. So I hope you enjoyed learning about these amazing animals. Please like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want, and tune in next week for another animal amazement video.